Hello folks, it is Sunday, September 18. We're going to take a quick look at the currencies. Let's jump right in. This is the basket of currencies that make up the US dollar index. Notice that the first three currencies are 83% of that basket. Let's jump into the charts. Here's the dollar in the monthly time frame. And so the current month's candle, we looked at this yesterday, looks like it's trying to find support along the top of this support resistance zone. This candle is neutral to bullish. MACD is in bull mode on a buy signal, obviously. Based on the histogram, momentum is strongly to the upside. Based on the idea that prior highs and lows in MACD oftentimes show us levels where price will roll over and reverse direction. We can see that the dollar still has a ways to go before it reaches the level of this prior high. So based on MACD, I'm expecting higher prices in the monthly time frame. Energy is very elevated. So again, I'm expecting higher prices in the dollar, certainly in the long term, the monthly time frame. Here in the weekly, we can see that the dollar is playing around, support and resistance, this horizontal level from the prior high. And then we've got a potential support level along the median line of this Andrews, this Andrews pitchfork. And then, of course, resistance this is the second median line extension of this blue Andrews pitchfork. So price, or the dollar, is playing with multiple levels of support and resistance. But again, this looks like a sustained uptrend, finding support along the 10-week moving average. MACD is very overbought, but in bull mode on a buy signal, energy very elevated. And so again, expectation for higher prices in the weekly time frame. Here in the daily, so we got a strong pop at the start of the week, and now just sideways action since. But I'd call this a high consolidation. So basically the dollar's just resting, catching its breath, getting ready for its next push higher in the daily time frame. So, and support along this horizontal support resistance zone. MACD in bull mode, currently on a sell signal. Energy is elevated. So, and support along the 20-day moving average as well. So anyway, expecting continued uptrend in the dollar in all time frames. Here's the euro in the monthly. We can see sustained downtrend, very oversold, and so reasonable to expect just a counter trend bounce, if nothing else. And perhaps we're getting a hint of that. Notice in the MACD histogram, downside momentum is starting to weaken based on the histogram turning from dark red to light red. Of course, energy is very low. So euro in the weekly time frame, bouncing around this support resistance level, potentially finding support along the lower median line of this Andrews pitchfork. We can see that price closed right at that the level of the median line, obviously finding resistance at the 10-week moving average. Price just basically bounced between those two levels last week. MACD in bear mode on a sell signal. Energy is very low. Let's look at the euro in the daily time frame. And so the euro on September 9th, they did a 0.75% interest rate hike. That's where we got this rally in the euro. But notice how quickly it rolled over. It reached the 50-day moving average and then rolled over and fell hard. And actually, the combination of those three candles is quite bearish. And so, anyway, this was a counter trend rally. Obviously, the trend is down. Counter trend rally, quickly ran out of energy and rolled over. Now we're getting some sideways bumping along the 20-day moving average, which currently acting as resistance, support, a little bit of both. So Euro trying to decide what it wants to do in the short term, but obviously got resistance overhead, upper median line of this modified shift pitchfork, and then the 50-day moving average right above that. So the main point here is that even a 3/4 point hike in interest rates only got the euro, 5 trading sessions. So rallied for a week and then rolled back over. So fundamental weakness in the euro and throughout the eurozone. They're in a heap of hurt. That they've got energy issues, they've got food issues. Germany is nationalizing the energy companies, talking about bailing out both the citizens and businesses this winter for energy costs. Germany just took over 3 Russian refineries within the country. I mean, Europe is headed in a bad direction, and I would expect that their currency, the euro, will reflect the direction in which their economy is heading. And of course, that is down. So here in the yen, and so, a week ago, the yen, the monetary guy, I'm not thinking the right term, was talking about potential intervention in the yen. The yen's getting too weak. We're going to intervene and try to strengthen it. But in reality, Japan is committed to a weak monetary policy, or a dovish monetary policy. They've decided that they're going to defend the quarter percent interest rate on their 10-year bond. You can see that's quarter point, this pink dashed line. And so they can't have it both ways. They can't have a strong currency and at the same time be printing currency to buy bonds. You don't get both at the same time. And so even with the talking head threatening intervention in the currency, all they got was a sideways consolidation. They didn't get a rally, just a sideways consolidation. And we'll see whether they're able to get anything more than that. But multiple layers of resistance overhead. MACD is hinting at an upturn. Notice that the histogram has pushed back up towards the 0 level. Looks like we may get a new buy signal from MACD. Energy is rising off a low level. So that's the yen. Pound, again, another, Eurozone, although they did do Brexit, but basically still Eurozone. They've got inflation issues. They're at 18% inflation. Cost of living crisis is showing up in the news. So again, UK is not in a good position. They were getting a little bit of a bounce in their currency based on electing a new prime minister. Here in the daily time frame, we can see that they got a little bit of a pop based on the election, but ran into resistance at the 20-day moving average, rolled over and fell hard, and now appears to be dropping lower. We got a new sell signal on Friday. Energy is very low. So, again, very, very short-lived strength, based on that election and has just rolled over again, obviously in a technical downtrend, and no reason to expect strength in the pound. Canada, same story. We can see here in the monthly time frame, playing with support along the lower boundary of this trading range. MACD is dropping into bear mode, currently on a sell signal. Energy is mid-range. In the weekly time frame, and we've closed. So this week's bar is closed. And notice that it closed below that lower boundary. So in all of these previous candles that tested this level of support, price was able to bounce back up and close above that level or right at that level. Notice that this past week's candle has closed below that level, suggesting that it has been penetrated to the downside, no longer providing support. MACD is in bear mode on a sell signal, energy at the lower end of the range. And this was in Canada, they raised interest rates 3/4 of a point on September 7. And so we can see, they got a counter trend rally. They got a bounce here in the daily time frame. This is based on the 3/4 point increase in interest rates, but again, reached the 50-day moving average, rolled over hard, and obviously is dropping. Did not have a pretty week in the Canadian dollar. MACD in bear mode on a sell signal, energy is low. So yet another fundamentally weak currency. The krona, we haven't had anything, no changes in interest rates, no talking heads that I'm aware of. But again, just, fundamentally weak currency, technical downtrend, resistance at the 10-week moving average and pulled back from that level, support at the lower median line of this modified shift pitchfork. MACD in bear mode on a sell signal, energy is very low. Got a little bit of a bounce last week, ran into the 50-day moving average and rolled over. MACD in bear mode, but currently on a buy signal, energy just above or just below mid-range. So not sure what caused this strength in the the krona. Let's keep moving. Swiss franc sideways in the monthly time frame, sideways bouncing around in the weekly time frame. Little bit bullish in the daily time frame. Obviously got a pop last week. This was based on talking heads coming out and saying that they're not planning to intervene in the currency. They're not going to do anything to make the franc weaker. And so they got this counter trend rally. I guess technically you could argue that the franc was in an uptrend. Low, high, slightly higher low, slightly higher high. So you could make the argument that the franc was in an uptrend, but it'd be a weak argument. Currently, in the past week, we've just gotten a sideways consolidation, obviously bounced off resistance at the 200-day moving average, found support on the 50-day moving average. MACD on a buy signal, still in bear mode, just below the zero level of the indicator, mid-range on energy. So that is the currencies. And what I've pointed out numerous times is that when all of the currencies in the basket of currencies that make up the dollar index, when they are all weak, the dollar has no choice but to be strong. And so I'm expecting ongoing strength in the U.S. dollar. I've still got this target at 112. I still feel like that's a valid target. We're likely to see the dollar hit that. If not this month, then next month. I'm going to leave it there. Talk to you soon, folks.